Hello, guys. Welcome back to another exciting episode on the show, Control or Be Control. Our guest for today is Tara. Tara is an Irish player. Actually, her entire name is Tara Conaghan. I was struggling to pronounce that before. So she she is a professional Irish fiddle player, podcaster, author, and educator, tour guide, and arts manager in Ireland, who has dedicated their work to helping people understand one of the most fascinating and often overlooked parts of Irish traditional music section etiquette. Sorry. For many musicians, joining an Irish music section can feel intimidating. It's not just about knowing the tunes, it's about understanding the traditions, social dynamics, and unspoken rules that make sense, that make these gatherings welcoming and meaningful. Tara, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Darlington. It's lovely to be here.
Okay, thank you so much. So, for listeners who may have never experienced an Irish traditional music section, what exactly is a section and why is etiquette such an important part of it?
Well, an Irish traditional music session is a group of musicians who play Irish traditional music, and they frequently play it in the corner of a pub. So it has no sort of there's no structure really to it. It's not like set in stone what has to happen there. It's kind of just like a gathering of friends who have a musical conversation, or they have a conversation through music. And so the etiquette then is, I suppose, when there's a group of friends playing music and then somebody joins that group, it's a bit like if somebody were to join a table of people just having a normal conversation. And so there's customs already have been built up between those people in that conversation at that moment in time. And then when somebody joins that and hasn't waited to see what those kind of customs are, that can then create a little bit of tension. It doesn't happen always, but it probably happens a bit more frequently than we would like it to happen.
Okay, thank you so much, Tara. So, when people hear the word etiquette, they may think of street rules. Is section etiquette more about rules, or is it about understanding culture and connection?
Yeah, it's not. That's the whole thing, that people think that etiquette means rules, but it actually just means the kind of the courtesies or the customs that have been built up. So, and I think that's a real misconception. And that's why I've kind of called my podcast and the whole project sessionetiquette.com. Even though the podcast isn't called that, it's called In Tune with Tradition. But I wanted to kind of make that term session etiquette not so brutal anymore, so that people could they wouldn't feel like there's rules on being forced upon them. So I want people to kind of have a much more positive thoughts around the term etiquette.
Okay, so why do so many talented musicians feel nervous after joining an established section?
Because it's not just always about the music. They maybe know lots of tunes or maybe are quite talented, but it's just when you're meeting a group of people often find that they are a little bit nervous meeting other people, and I think that's where the anxiety comes from. When you maybe don't know what has gone on before you've arrived into the room, that can usually create a bit of anxiety, or maybe a bit more of unease rather than anxiety. But maybe we don't think of it as anxiety. We just think of it as maybe we're just feeling a little bit nervous or uneasy in that situation at that time.
Okay, so fellas, what are some common mistakes newcomers make? Not because they are disrespectful, but because they simply don't know the traditions.
Yeah, sometimes maybe people join in and they might try to take over. So they might say, usually if there's a newcomer that comes to the session and they don't know Irish music, they might try to join and think it's a jam session. And Irish traditional music sessions are not jam sessions. It's not like everybody can join in and we'll just kind of an open mic night. It's more of a let's play some Irish traditional music together as a team, because we enjoy it, and because when we all play together and we play really well together, we can all sound way better than if we were just playing by ourselves. So if somebody comes in and they haven't even heard Irish traditional music before, that's usually it probably might make for a difficult night. Because it's all about the melody and it's not about the chords. So it's like the opposite to jazz. Jazz is more about like the chords and then the melody can kind of be improvised, whereas the opposite to that is the melody is in place and the chords are kind of slightly improvised. But we can't have lots of different improvised chords because then that could just sound awful. So it's a difficult one if people haven't heard Irish traditional music before or haven't even tried playing it. I think the session is not the place to have your first go at it. I think it's best to go to a class or maybe try and learn some Irish music first from YouTube, and then you can definitely more than welcome to join into sessions then.
All right. Thank you so much. So, how can someone entering a new community learn the unspoken rules without feeling overwhelmed or afraid of making mistakes?
I think they kind of need to read the room beforehand. And reading the room, I did a bit of, thinking about what does actually read the room mean. And it's being aware of what's around you, aware of the people around you, aware of their needs, aware of the needs of the music around you, aware of the needs of the environment around you, and then seeing how you participate in that. How by you participating, does that change the vibe of the room? Does it change the vibe of the music? Does it change the social vibe of it? And then I think the best way to feel less anxious is to try and adapt to that environment at that moment in time, because each environment is different. I think of it like I think of every session a bit like a motorway. So if we're coming onto a motorway from a slip road, and we're watching what's happening, we're listening, we're looking at the speed of people, we're looking at where they are situated, and we need to fit into that because the motorway exists already. And the motorway is never the same twice, because if you enter, 2 minutes later, it's a completely different place. So that's exactly what a session's like. It's like you're entering something that exists. They're going at speed, So and every session will have a different speed because it has different people, and people think. People have different needs on a daily basis or on an hourly basis. So what we might start off playing fast, we might then think, oh, look, we'll start playing slow now. So you just never know. So I think you really have to read what's around you, be aware of what's around you, and then try and adapt yourself to that environment. Now, if you're the person who's setting up the session and it's, you start the session and other people come into you, you're kind of expecting that they would do that for you as well, that they would read the room, read everything, be aware of what's going on, and then try and adapt to what you have set up as well. So it's not just it's all my rules. It's kind of just being courteous to something that exists before you.
So is it possible for someone to be a part of this session? Playing this session if you are not Irish?
Oh, totally. Yeah. But so long as you've played Irish music or listened to it, and you're aware of what it is. I have some friends and listeners actually of my own podcast in the United States of America, and they frequently say that they have maybe visitors coming to their session who have never heard Irish music before, but they think they should jump in with maybe a shaky egg or with a guitar, but they've never heard Irish music before. So how can they play along if they have never heard what it sounds like before? So I think it's just a bit of courtesy and respect to the musicians who have been playing for 30, 40 years to say, look, I respect all the work that you've put in and the level that you're at. And I'm not going to try and disrespect that by thinking that I can join yet. But then, after they've listened and played and committed, I think, themselves to it for a while, then absolutely, everybody's welcome. Everybody is welcome once they, I suppose it'd be like me trying to join into a session of jazz musicians here in Ireland or anywhere. If I'm not comfortable, if I don't know the music and I haven't listened to it, then oh my God, I'd make a mess of it. And I think, that's probably what will happen if somebody goes into an Irish music session and they haven't played Irish music before. So it's not about it's not about where the person is from. It's about what they've listened to or what they've been exposed to before.
Okay, thank you so much, Tara, for just making that, explaining that out. So, does session etiquette change depending on whether someone is playing in Ireland versus attending sessions in other parts of the world?
Yeah, Irish music's actually played in hundreds of countries around the world, which is crazy. Even countries with very little association with Ireland, and there is sessions all over the world. I can't believe it. The listeners are from all over the world. We have listeners in South America, Chile, Argentina. They have Irish music schools there as well. They teach just Irish music, it's amazing. And the same all around America, lots of different parts of Europe, Japan. There's lots of Japanese people that play Irish music, Australians. So it's not just the English speaking parts of the world. It's actually all over the world. It's crazy. And actually, my podcast is being listened to people in 93 different countries around the world. I mean, I'm astounded. It's great. It's fascinating, but it's amazing.
All right, Tara, thank you so much. So personally for me, I'm just sharing about Irish music session for the first time. Although I know maybe probably because I am not Irish or I've never been to Ireland. So I enjoy what you are explaining and talking about. So how has teaching newcomers changed the way you view Irish traditional music and the communities built around it?
How often what? Sorry, I missed that little bit.
Tell us how teaching newcomers changed the way you view Irish music and the communities built around it.
Yeah, teaching. I teach adult learners, mostly adults, and I always thought I was teaching them, I suppose, more about their performance anxieties of going into sessions. And it was then in the last maybe couple of years that I was thinking about maybe writing a book about music performance anxiety. And I asked one of my fiddle students, who is a retired doctor, if he would be my medical advisor for the book. And he said, absolutely. He said, but you know what we really need a book on session etiquette. He said, because the performance anxiety that we are experiencing is because we don't know the rules in the session and the etiquette that we're supposed to, what we're supposed to do in a session, how we're supposed to behave. So that kind of led me on a discovery. He said, that's what we really need. And my initial response was, no way. Oh my God, that's a horrible subject. It's very touchy. It's a bit of a taboo subject because you're talking about people's behavior after all. So, and then he kind of, he changed my mind. He said, we really kind of need this. So I haven't written the book yet. I said I would start by having conversations with lots of different musicians in Ireland and outside of Ireland about what their perspective on etiquette in Irish music sessions. And that's kind of where we've started. That's the podcast started a year ago. And yeah, it's been a fascinating journey ever since then. It has taken over my life. I'm sure you have experienced the same with your podcast. It kind of takes over your life, doesn't it?
Yeah. Let's see. It does.
Definitely.
So, what can Irish music section teach us about belonging in other areas of life, like workplaces, creative communities, or moving to like a new, different country?
Yeah, I think it's very, very similar, because it's all about experiencing the customs and the courtesies that exist before us. And I don't mean in some big kind of greater, greater, but just even around us. A bit like the motorway example, or if we start a new job. I mean, if we want to create change in the world, we have to first understand what we're changing. So we have to come in at almost like a learner attitude, going, what can I learn here? What exists here before me? How can I integrate here? And then, this might help. If we did it this way, I wonder, would that be better? Would that help everybody? So I think that's the same. Even I moved to Finland when I was in the late 90s, when I was a university student. And I was there for a year. On the first few months, I never took out my fiddle at all. I would nearly pretend I'm not Irish. I'd be thinking, how can I integrate? How can I learn so much about being Finnish first? And then once I discovered that, or I was on that discovery path of how to be the best Finnish person I could be, or the Finnish Irish person, then I think people were much more open to me being there and being Irish, and they were much more open to learning about being Irish as well. So and we had I have some great friends there now. But yeah, I think I wanted to learn more, as much as possible, about them first, so that I could really understand where I was moving to, how they lived. And I mean, it actually has shaped me as a person since then. And I think you do find that when people move to different countries, they almost become more, like, almost more Irish than the Irish themselves, or more Finnish, or more whatever country you move to. You become almost more than the identity of the people there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, Tara. That makes sense. So, for someone listening right now who wants to join the first section but feels intimidated, what advice would you give them?
I always advise people to go to a session about 3 or 4 times before you would bring an instrument, so that you get to, it's like a recce. You just do a reconnaissance trip on the session a couple of times. Maybe I would say 3 to 4 times is a good balance. So you get to hear the music, the type of music that's played in it. You get to meet the musicians that are there. You get to understand the kind of rhythm and the speed. And you almost start to become part of the furniture before you even join. And it's a bit, I remember a guy who used to play the flute, and we didn't know he played the flute. So he came to the session and he sat at the bar, and he used to smile down at the session every week, and he loved the music. And we were like, this guy, he's the best listener. He was enjoying it. And every time we go to the bar, he would chat to us, and we would chat to him. And he was kind of almost like one of the musicians, but not a musician. And then he let it slip it was probably about 2 months later, that actually he was learning the flute, and he had been learning the flute for a couple of years. And so we were like, come on into the session, please. So I think if you get to know the musicians first, they get to trust you, and then you can come in, because then you're a friend. And once somebody's your friend, you want the best for that person. So we wanted the best for that guy. We wanted him to really enjoy the music. We wanted to help him on his learning journey. And we would always say, come on, I'll call him Jim. Come on, Jim, do you want to play a tune? So yeah, we just wanted him to be part of the journey and part of the session.
Oh, thank you so much, Tara. Thank you for sharing such a unique perspective on Irish traditional music and the deeper lessons behind Section 8K. Today's conversation reminds us that every community has its own culture, traditions, and unspoken language, whether it's music, work, or everyday relationships. Belonging often begins with humility, curiosity, and the willingness to listen. The goal is not just to enter a space, is to understand it, respect it, and contribute in a meaningful way. So for those that would like to learn more about your work, those that want to learn more about the Irish music and other resources for understanding Irish traditional sections, how can they do that, Tara?
Yeah, they can look at sessionetiquette.com or www.sessionetiquette.com or irishmusicsessions.com. And my podcast is available on Spotify or Apple or anywhere you listen to podcasts. It's called In Tune with Tradition: Perspectives on Session Etiquette in Irish Traditional Music. Or even if you just search for Session Etiquette, it will come up as the only podcast, I think. So, yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Tara. Once again, this has been a very wonderful episode. Thank you for coming and sharing. This is very different. Like I said, I've never heard about Irish 8K before, Irish session before. And, uh, and I'm sure most
Thank
of
you
my
so much,
listeners,
Darlington.
thank you. And I'm sure most of my listeners have never heard of it. And most of them will look to try and get the experience. Me, personally, for me, I love the island, honestly. I hope one day I can get to
Cool.
Ireland. All
You'll
right.
have to come and visit and say hello.
Yeah. So are you from Ireland? Like you were born in Ireland,
I
your parents are
am.
from Ireland. Okay,
Yes, I'm born and bred. Yes.
I think it will be very difficult for you to know about the traditional music if you are not born and bred in Ireland.
I,
That's my
but there are so many people around the world who are learning it and playing it. And they have no connection to Ireland at all, but they just heard the music and they went, "Oh, I love that! I want to play it," and they do, and it's great. And then they come to Ireland and play a few tunes, and they come maybe to visit Ireland maybe once a year or once every couple of years, and they go around to all the festivals and all the sessions, and they just love it. It's such a cool way of life. I love playing music, even any music. I think it's just such a lovely thing to do.
All right. Thank you once again. I really appreciate you for coming, and do have a wonderful day ahead.
And you too. Thanks so much, Darlington.